July 15, 2023. Miami, Florida. $3 million lost in just 4 seconds, and this was built 4,500 years ago without a single machine, and it's still standing, almost perfect. So the question is simple. What did they know that we forgot? In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you something that will completely change how you see engineering. 6 months ago, a construction site in Barcelona lost €470,000 in a single night. The problem wasn't a lack of technology, it was overconfidence. They had GPS, laser levels, state-of-the-art surveying software, and still, everything went wrong. Meanwhile, 2,000 years ago, the Romans built a 31-mile aqueduct with a perfectly constant slope, 1.3 inches over 31 miles, using nothing more than water, a tube, and 2 containers, no electricity, no machines. So how is that even possible? Today I'm going to show you the 3 tools every ancient engineer mastered. Tools so simple you could build them with your own hands, yet so powerful they still solve problems that cost us millions today. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the most advanced technology is sometimes the simplest. But before I show you these tools, you need to see this. Because what you're about to discover will challenge everything you thought you knew about engineering. Cusco, Peru. This is Sacsayhuaman. Look closely at these joints. You can't fit a single sheet of paper between these stones. Each block weighs 120 tons. 120 tons cut with watchmaker precision. And here's what's truly incredible. Over the last 500 years, this region has endured more than 50 earthquakes with magnitudes of 7 or higher. Modern buildings collapsed, bridges fell, but Sacsayhuaman, not a single crack, because these irregular joints are not a mistake. They are earthquake engineering at the highest level. Each block is unique, mathematically shaped to distribute forces in multiple directions. When the earth shakes, the structure doesn't resist, it adapts. So let me ask you something. How many buildings we construct today will still be standing 500 years from now? Exactly, because we've forgotten something fundamental, and that something is these 3 principles. The most precise tool that ever existed, southern France. The Pont du Gard Aqueduct. 31 miles crossing mountains, valleys and rivers, and it maintains a perfectly constant slope. Want to know how much? 1.3 inches over 31 miles. That's a precision of 0.00068%. A professional laser level costing $8,000 has a margin of error of 1/8 of an inch over 100 feet. The Roman water level? 1/16 of an inch over 300 feet, and it works every time. No batteries, no calibration, no failure, just 2 containers, 1 tube, and water. Why does it work? Because water always seeks its level. It doesn't care about distance, it doesn't care about terrain, it's gravity working for you, and gravity is perfect. John Pierre Adam, in his book Roman Construction Techniques, documents something remarkable. Roman surveyors were able to measure elevation differences of less than 1/10 of an inch over distances of 300 feet, using only water. The $470,000 mistake. September 2019. Barcelona, a €12 million construction project. The surveying team uses cutting-edge laser technology. Everything is digitally verified. Everything looks perfect. They pour 260 feet of concrete over 5,000 cubic feet, the foundation of the entire structure. The next morning, the slab is 2.5 inches off level. The laser was miscalibrated from the very beginning. No one verified it with a physical method. The solution? Demolish everything and start over. Cost $470,000. Time lost 3 months. Reputation damaged. Now ask yourself this. Would this have happened if someone had verified the level with a $15 water level? No, because water has no opinion. Water doesn't miscalibrate. Water doesn't lie. Water simply is. This is known as the principle of communicating vessels. Pascal studied it in the 17th century, but the Egyptians were already using it 4,000 years earlier. Why does it work? Because water pressure is identical at every point on the same horizontal plane. It's physics. It's immutable. It's perfect. And once you understand this principle, you never blindly trust a sensor without verification again, because technology can fail, physics cannot. Now, before we continue, I want you to notice something. The pyramids of Giza, Roman aqueducts, the Parthenon, Machu Picchu, Angkor Wat, Stonehenge. What do they all have in common? They're still standing. While 20-year-old buildings collapse, 30-year-old bridges fall, modern structures fail. Not because ancient technology was better, because they understood better, and that understanding came from a second tool. A tool so simple that Archimedes once said with it he could move the world, the infinite multiplier. Stonehenge, blocks weighing 25 tons, some over 40 tons, transported 150 miles, 5,000 years ago. No wheels, no horses, no machines. Impossible. 2001. An archaeological experiment. A team from the University of Exeter decides to test the impossible. 130 people, wooden levers, rollers, ropes, no machines. They move a block weighing 40 tons, 100 feet per day, and it works. Why? Because they understood something many modern engineers have forgotten. You don't need more force, you need more distance. Archimedes said it 2,300 years ago. Give me a place to stand, and I will move the earth. It wasn't poetry, it was mathematics. If you double the distance from the fulcrum, you double your force. Triple it, and you triple it. This is mechanical advantage, the law of the lever, and it always works. J.G. Landels documents something remarkable in his book, Engineering in the Ancient World. The Greeks didn't improvise, they calculated, with mathematical precision, for every load, for every distance. They knew exactly how much force was required. Force times distance equals load times distance. A builder understood this 3,000 years ago. QET, 2010, January 12th, a magnitude 7.0 earthquake. Port-au-Prince is destroyed. Over 200,000 dead. Thousands trapped beneath the rubble. International rescue teams arrive. Cutting-edge technology, thermal sensors, cameras, hydraulic equipment. But there's a problem. In many areas, the debris is so unstable that using heavy machinery would trigger secondary collapses. They would kill the very people they were trying to save. So what did they do? They went back to the basics. Levers, metal bars, improvised fulcrums, coordinated human effort. They saved 132 lives in situations where advanced technology could do nothing. Because when you understand the principle, you don't need the most expensive machine. You need the most expensive machine. You need physical understanding. Chris Dunn documents something extraordinary in Lost Technologies of Ancient Egypt. The Egyptians didn't use a single lever. They used systems of levers, lever upon lever, cascaded, with 4 levers in series. 10 people could lift 100 tons. Complicated? No. Intelligent. And here's what's truly incredible. Today, when a crane doesn't fit, when access is impossible, when technology isn't available, many engineers are left without answers. Because they never learned the principle. They learned what button to push. They never learned why it works. A few months ago, I was at a construction site, and I met Don Miguel, 67 years old, foreman, 45 years of experience. I asked him a simple question. What's the biggest change you've seen in construction? He stayed silent for a moment, looked at the younger workers, and then he said something I haven't been able to forget. Before, when I was learning, they taught us why things worked. Why this angle, why this proportion, why this technique. Now they teach them what button to push, and when the button doesn't work, they don't know what to do. That brings me to the third tool, the simplest of all and the most profound. The tool that never lies. The Leaning Tower of Pisa, 850 years slowly falling. It tilted from the very first day of construction. A calculation error, unstable ground. poor planning. Today, it's a tourist icon, but make no mistake, it's an engineering failure. Now look at this. These Japanese temples are 1,300 years old. They've survived magnitude 8 earthquakes, typhoons with winds over 125 miles per hour, tsunamis, fires, wars. What's the difference? They are perfectly vertical because Japanese builders understood something we've forgotten. Gravity doesn't forgive. This is a plumb bob, a weight, a string. That's it. And yet it is the most precise reference for verticality that exists in the universe. Why? Because it points exactly toward the center of the Earth. Always. It needs no calibration, no battery, no updates. It cannot fail. It's pure physics. Gravity is a universal constant. 32 feet per second squared. It doesn't change. It doesn't negotiate. It has no exceptions. And any structure that is not perfectly aligned with that force will eventually fail. It might take 10 years. It might take 100, but it will fail. Ancient builders knew this. That's why every wall, every column, every tower was verified with a plumb bob. It wasn't caution. It was survival. Miami, 2021, June 24th. 1:23 a.m., Surfside, Miami, Champlain Towers, 40 years old, 136 apartments, in 12 seconds, it's gone, 98 people die. The investigation that followed revealed something disturbing. Structural errors accumulated over 40 years, micro-deviations in verticality from the very first construction phase, poorly distributed loads, undetected corrosion. No sensor caught it in time. A simple plumb bob would have revealed those deviations from the beginning, because a plumb bob doesn't measure what should be, it measures what is. L. Sprague de Camp describes the Roman protocol. Every level of construction was verified 3 times. Water level, perfect horizontal; plumb bob, perfect vertical; square, perfect angles; triple verification, with physical tools, independent from each other. Today, we build faster, we build taller, we use more technology, but we verify less because we trust sensors, software, automatic calibration, and when they fail, we pay the price. So what's the truth behind these 3 tools? It's not that they were simple, it's that they were fundamental. The water level works because gravity distributes pressure uniformly. The lever works because conservation of energy is a universal law. The plumb bob works because gravity always points to the center of the Earth. These aren't tricks, they are laws of nature, and the laws of nature do not change. Technology changes, trends change, materials change, but physics remains, and that's what ancient engineers understood deeply. They didn't build against nature, they built with nature. Today we ask, what machine do I need? They asked, what principle can I use? Today we think, how much does the equipment cost? They thought, how does the physics work? And that difference in thinking changed everything. Because when you understand the principle, the tool becomes irrelevant. You can improvise, you can adapt, you can solve, but when you only know the tool, you are limited by it. You're trapped, a slave to technology instead of a master of principles. 4,500 years ago, someone woke up at dawn. They looked at this plain of sand, and they decided to build something impossible. They had no calculator, no laser, no computer, no electricity, but they had something infinitely more valuable: understanding. Understanding that water seeks its level, understanding that distance multiplies force, understanding that gravity never lies, and that understanding allowed them to create something that still defies our comprehension 45 centuries later. Not because it was magical, but because it was fundamentally solid. The pyramids still stand, the aqueducts still flow, the temples still defy gravity, Roman roads still carry traffic, not in spite of their simple technology, because of their solid principles. So the next time you see a primitive tool, ask yourself, is it primitive or is it perfect? Because maybe, just maybe, what we've forgotten is more valuable than what we've invented. The best technology is the one that never fails. Now tell me, which of these 3 tools would you use in your work today? The water level that never lies? The lever that multiplies your force? or the plumb bob that is always perfect? Let me know in the comments, and if this video changed how you see engineering, share it with someone who needs to see it, because these principles should never be forgotten again. The ancients weren't primitive. We are the ones who forgot.